This video features high-end limited edition collectibles and is intended for adult collectors. Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
And Sang.
Hello! We're on camera for a discussion video. We haven't done this in a really long time. But this is our second video of Integrity Toys Stilettos Out convention coverage. This is going to be a larger discussion of our thoughts and opinions on the event, the dolls, the food, the themes, so on and so forth. We did already post a vlog video, so if you would like to see live footage and, a whole bunch of clips from inside the convention itself in Reston, Virginia, definitely check that out. It'll be linked in the description below. At this point in time, while we're filming, I have not finished editing it, and there's still a lot of work to do. So, wish past me luck, even though by the time you're watching this, I will have already been done, and I'm so proud of future me.
It's so early that Max hasn't even purchased his dolls yet.
No.
Today's the last day.
No, so we have to make those decisions. But yes, in this video, we're gonna be discussing all of our thoughts and opinions on the event. So it's gonna be a long one. Get comfy, get a drink, get a snack.
Yes, a lot of you said that you like to put us in the background while you cook and clean. So this is the perfect video for that. Before we get into the actual convention, we should talk about a little bit about pricing as well as what the convention entails. So Stilettos Out is the convention for 2024. They weren't very clear on the theme. The name entails that it is a spin on the Knives Out franchise, but it's more of a mystery thriller that is a bit of a James Bond meets Ocean's 11 heist.
The full technical name of the event was Stilettos Out, an Integrity Toys thriller.
Yes. So it is a mystery thriller that takes attendees to exotic locations while solving a mystery. So it's very vague, but I don't know, we can talk about it if they pull it off or not. So this year it was $150, sorry.
I wish it was $150, yes. That would have been great.
This year the price for the convention was $775. And that gets you 2 meals and a lunch. And also access to the bazaar where you can sell stuff as well as purchase things, a raffle room, some design competitions, and there were 4 dolls that you get for free with your ticket. There's also other additional events or workshops you can purchase along with your ticket. So there was a W Club luncheon that was $200, and that got you a giveaway doll as well as an opportunity to buy the centerpiece doll. And that also includes a little Q&A with the designers. And then there were 2 workshops that you can attend. There was a face paint workshop that was $75. That includes a doll that you can repaint, as well as another workshop for $30 that was all about painting stilettos and the process of 3D printing stilettos. Those were the costs and the events.
Yes, and I have to say off the bat, it was really, really expensive this year. To reiterate, this was the first full, proper in-person convention since 2019's Live from Fashion Week. There was a condensed event in 2023 curated, which we also covered on our channel, but this was the proper return to the full convention experience. This was quite a price hike from what we paid previously, just the base cost for entry. Of course, there's been a little bit of inflation in the past 5 years, among other things. I do still think as a whole, this was a bit of an intense financial undertaking.
It was a big commitment to attend. You both had to get the ticket as well book a hotel room. IT did partner up with a hotel to get you some discounts. I think it was $200 a night.
$200 flat a night at the Hyatt Regency Reston, which we showed that in our vlog. It was honestly, I loved the hotel.
Oh yeah,
the hotel was great. It was a great choice of hotel. It was in a beautiful area. A+ on the hotel. IT. I loved the hotel. Really, honestly, no significant notes on the hotel.
There were some hiccups before the convention. There was a port strike on the East Coast, and that had significantly delayed a lot of cargo coming into the United States. So a lot of people were kind of weirded out because we hadn't received any notifications or emails about final like tables and things you need to prepare for the convention. It was supposed to come out a month before the convention, but we didn't receive anything until like 2 weeks before. And then all hell broke loose because the email also, beyond including like our tables and like final procedures and stuff like that, was they said that the pork straight had delayed all of the dolls for the convention. So there won't be any dolls at the convention.
You know, if you watch the vlog, you know we did end up getting a surprise at the tail end that one of the dolls was available to purchase on site, which I think made a lot of people very happy. That was a great surprise. In terms of kind of how we feel about this and what we observed about that situation, we definitely saw that there were some fans who were deeply upset about this, who were completely like, that like, what's even the point of going? Like, you should just switch this to a virtual convention and like, all these different things.
And I think that's a very fair point. We're paying $750 to attend with no dolls.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like personally, like, there's definitely layers to people's frustrations. And I think having attend conventions in the past, there's no other experience like an in-person event. So I was fine. I was like, okay, cool. Like, there won't be anything I have to lug back to, on a plane or ship home. Because I was a little concerned about doing that because, like, it's just, it's a lot of dolls.
And they did also, to be clear, they offered in compensation for this, they offered to waive shipping.
But that was a whole other issue too. So I can definitely understand collectors, especially international collectors, who have to pay taxes and fees.
And deal with international shipping wait times, like versus potentially just checking them on their flight or something like that. It's especially understandable, I feel like, for international collectors who were really hoping to just get their stuff and take it on their flight and check it versus like, now I have to deal with international shipping and da-da-da and stuff like that.
Because like the problem is, of course, things can get lost in shipping, things are delayed. Certain countries charge taxes and fees on the amount of what you're purchasing. So these dolls are not cheap. So, the percentage can really add up. And I know certain collectors were telling us that with things that you carry on a plane, there is some taxes on them, but it's only over a certain limit. So if you bring a certain limit, those are not taxed, and everything above that will be taxed. So they were hoping to be able to take some stuff home so they don't be taxed on those.
Yes. Again, for me personally, to be honest, like, I didn't really mind. I mean, again, to a certain extent, for selfish reasons, it's like we were able to save money on shipping. We ordinarily would have probably had to have paid for shipping or to check a giant box or something like that. Yeah. I personally was not in a gigantic rush to have these dolls on hand and in my house and stuff like that. But I absolutely understand how and different reasons why people may feel differently. To my understanding, this was, again, of course, something out of IT's hands. There are,
there's a lot of, hindsight is 2020. Like they could have ordered the dolls earlier. They could have went around this in some kind of way. But, given the situation, I think IT handled it the best as they could. They had offered to refund shipping as store credit. So you had to front the shipping costs yourself when you're checking out on their website. But they would refund you the shipping via, store credit to the shop. Some collectors didn't like that because it kind of forces you to buy more stuff from IT. And they weren't very clear on how long it will take them to issue store credit. So after some backlash and some feedback, IT switched over to a program where you still had to pay shipping, but it would be refunded right away through your credit card or whatever form of payment you used. So that was the alternative. So you still had to pay for it, like, out of pocket right away, but it was gonna be refunded through your bank or whatever. So that was nice. This doesn't really solve the issue for like taxes, like international collectors have to deal with, but it still was a nice gesture because obviously this would eat into their profits. Let's just get into the event itself. So Max and I arrived Wednesday, so we flew all Wednesday. That was a lot of fun. So Wednesday was kind of like pre-registration, so you check in and grab your shopping bag, which was a cute little bag. I don't know if we have it around here. So,
we showed it in the vlog.
as well as a dossier with like kind of like the activity event that we were going to be doing. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think we ever received anything like that before.
Yeah, I mean, I do think in general what they did, kind of like providing clues and evidence and stuff like that at each event, so collectors could potentially like form their own conclusions or theories of like what was coming, which Sang kind of like successfully did based on the clues they gave us, because yeah, some of the clue images
Sci-fi, kind of like, you know, I saw like robotic arms and stuff like that.
Yes. And so he theorized, he's like, oh yeah, is like one of the final dolls like an android or like something like that? Yeah.
And a lot of collectors were asking for those kind of like sci-fi arms to come back. Usually when we register, we would receive our welcome doll. But because nothing was there, all they had was these paper cutouts of the image of the doll, which is really cool. I love collecting those.
Yeah, they were like little like tall cards.
Yeah,
like,
you could kind of
keep. Yeah. Honestly, I know you had mentioned like you kind of just want them to do that from now on. Even if the dolls are present, you kind of want those.
Yeah.
I think they were cute. They were cute.
Yeah.
It was kind of like nice having like a little photo card of the dolls. I do think they were cute. So
yeah, they were really nicely printed out. It was a nice souvenir to have.
So first of all, this can all be your formal introduction to my cat, Nighty. Say hello to her.
She doesn't like me. I called her Chunky once and it didn't work.
So the welcome doll gift set was Cryptic Cases Imogen Lennox. And yeah, her components were revealed subsequently like at different events at the convention. So she kind of started out as like a lingerie doll, and then she got additional compartments with additional fashions later on.
So she's playing a character named Donna Drake, and she is a true crime blogger slash podcaster, and she's here to solve the mystery. The doll that was revealed was just her in her lingerie, which, you know, I was like, is she solving crime in her underwear? But we found out she was part of like a larger gift set.
And she was designed by Elaine Tremblay, IT's marketing director, who historically has not designed a ton of dolls at IT.
It's been a really long time since he like fully designed a doll.
Yes.
But he did design a fashion pack for the Fashion Royalty Style Lab in 2020, I believe.
And so this was kind of his return to like designing dolls, which of course, you know, the Integrity Toys design team lost a few people in the past year. They lost Mark and Vaughn, so they're kind of having to, you know, have different folks design. Eventually, probably, hopefully, they'll hire, you know, like another designer. But this particular Imogen was fine. I think personally, I mean, she was a cute, versatile, like brunette Imogen. I definitely think for like redressing purposes,
yeah,
she's a great doll. She came with basically the lingerie set, and then definitely of the components she came with like the fashion changes, my favorite by far was that pretty kind of like watercolory, like purple, pink, like
a wrap jacket.
Yeah, the wrap jacket was really cute. That was definitely the highlight of that gift set for me.
I was telling Max, like, she is really cute. I think of like kind of the gift sets that we receive for like conventions, she seems a little bit lacking. She comes with a lot of accessories, but like her outfits aren't Vava Boom like Nadja had from Fashion Fairy Tale. Like they're all like still like simple outfits, but they're not quite as like detailed.
I did see a few people pointing out that like for a gift set, she doesn't come with an enormous amount of fabric.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if I don't know, some of the pieces she came with were a little more detailed, kind of felt like they packed a little more value.
Yeah, I think Imogen herself is really pretty. I really like the contrast between the two Imogens that we got this year.
They're very different.
Yes, they're very different. The club doll is very youthful. She definitely fits in with like the NU.Face girls. And this Imogen is a little bit more mature looking. Like I thought she might have even fit in with like the Fashion Royalty line. So yeah, she's fine. She's fun. I don't hate her. Moving on, we're gonna be talking about room sales.
The room sales were fun. I would say if you want to see the stuff that we found in the room sales, definitely check out the vlog. I loved that room sales were back. I do have to say, you know, that is one of the really fun aspects of convention. If you are a person who wants to you know, offload and, you know, sell parts, bits and pieces of your collection, that's a great opportunity to do so. Generally speaking, not 100% of the time, but a lot of the times you will find like friendlier prices than what you might find online or on eBay or something like that. And of course too, it's like you don't pay like fees and taxes and stuff like that if you sell these things in person. So sometimes you can come across really cool deals, and it's not even just people reselling dolls. They're selling like accessories or things they made, or Etsy and like small business like stores.
There's some stuff. Like authorized dealers there too.
If it's your first time at convention and you're like really splurging on room sales like before the events or anything starts, is like just be mindful that the expenses can add up very quickly at convention. But it was a ton of fun. I definitely for sure want them to continue doing room sales. Sort of like an icebreaker to like meet people and see people and chat with them. One thing, I don't know if this would be logistically possible depending on the hotels they partner with, but it would be really great if it were at all possible for them to somehow like condense the folks who are doing room sales to a given floor or series of few floors or something like that, because we were just scouring the whole hotel. We're like, let's go to this floor and then this floor, and which that is, okay, that's like a general thing, especially if you're like a newbie at a convention in person and you're at a big hotel and there's a whole bunch of people at this event. Prepare yourself for like elevator logistics. There can be a lot of like wait times for elevators because there's tons and tons and tons of people using them, especially during high traffic periods, like when the, you know, when luncheons or dinners or whatever end, or when a whole bunch of people are checking out room sales and stuff like that. So that's just something to consider.
And on that note, this hotel had 4 elevators, which was nice. I think the last one we were at, they had a really cool, like, clear dome elevator, but it was just 1 elevator. So it was like 700 people trying to get up.
Over 700 people had to, like, wait for that elevator.
Yes.
That was a little crazy.
Yes, this one, they had 4 of them, so it was a little bit quicker. So Thursday was kind of interesting because it would kind of let you check in. Some people already shopped that day. Shopping was split up into groups, so we were dead last, so we didn't get to shop until Friday, like near the end. So we had to rely on other people on their social media to like post pictures of the dolls because we couldn't see them until it was our shopping time.
In 2019 at Live from Fashion Week, a good amount of dolls were on display, like out in glass cases, just
in the lobby,
like in the hotel area, which was fabulous for several reasons. Because for one, if your shopping time was later, it gave you time to like think about it and see the dolls in person. And there were a lot of dolls, let me tell you, that seeing them in person, you have a completely different experience from seeing the promo pictures and stuff like that. We'll get into that more, Yeah,
I mean, it gives you an opportunity to decide, like Max said. Also, like, notice the details, as well as, help with congestion. Like, it's very overwhelming when you're in the sales room and you have to decide on dolls you want. They also had different things that they were selling, like they had a bunch of the basic dolls for a discount as well, and there's shoe packs and different little knickknacks that you can buy.
That we have to talk about the mystery boxes.
There's a lot of things there, so it's very overwhelming and you could miss something while you're like focusing on like looking at the dolls and stuff like that. So I think in the future, hopefully they would put the sample dolls somewhere that the public can see them, so when you're shopping you can just focus on what you want to purchase.
I also feel like it contributes towards creating more of a convention environment. I think just having stuff to peruse like while you're out and about. All right, so we are going to get started sharing our thoughts on the convention collection, which is kind of like the quote-unquote like core set of dolls for the con, and it's a mix of IT's different lines as always. So first up, from Fashion Royalty, we have Lethal Rose Vanessa Perrin. So this is Vanessa 1.0.
Yep, which is a fan favorite.
And
she's $180. She's, all the convention collection is additional sizes is 600. So it's enough for everyone.
As we mentioned in the vlog, her outfit is fabulous. Yes. I love her fashions. It's such a cool gown. Like, honestly, the outfit is stellar. There's these really cool like lapels. It's kind of like a blazer over acting as a skirt, you know, like over this like elaborate, you know, ball gown aesthetic. It's so pretty. And like the little, like the layer of, you know, like the mesh kind of overlay-esque situation, which has a very elaborate design. The outfit is stellar. I love her dagger. I love the rose accents on, you know, like the back of her dress and the accessories.
That's a separate piece, that corsage. You can actually move it wherever you want.
Yeah, which is so cool. Love that. This Vanessa, I will say her makeup is fabulous. Her hair is fabulous. The expression on her face and her eyes are not my favorite. I think many...
It's a very old screening that they brought, Jesse brought back, and he's great with like screening updates.
Yes.
But this screening, her pupils are looking in two different like directions.
She is so intensely, like she spotted something on the ceiling and she cannot take her eyes away. It is like, she is incredibly wall-eyed. So I will say, this is one of those wall-eyed screenings though, where like she looks great from like certain angles.
Yeah.
And then other ones, it looks like her eyes are rolling in the back of her head. So it really depends on like the angle you're looking at her. We've also kind of talked about before how, I don't know if this is specifically a Vanessa 1.0 thing, but how just the slightly open mouth it's like a, I don't know, just kind of like a drooling, vacant like kind of look. So to me, the doll, she's a little vacant looking with like the mouth open and the eyes wall-eyed and stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, a vast majority of her is stunning.
So next up, we have the most daring doll of the convention, in our opinion.
La Sombra Alejandra Luna.
And she is, I believe, $175.
What a deal.
What a deal. I noticed that Jesse, in particular, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong as we go along, he doesn't use any pleather for any of the dolls in this whole...
He knows the community hates pleather. I definitely feel like pleather has an atrocious reputation in the doll community at this point. I mean, you may as well categorize it under like hair tinsel at this point, which I can understand. It melts and completely deteriorates over time, but I think you're right, he doesn't really use it. So this Alejandra her hair color is lunar lavender.
Whatever that means. I can just tell you it is the same hair color as Mademoiselle, like Lilith's hair. I think.
Yes.
There's like two lavenders they use. There's one that shines kind of warm tone, and there's one that shines kind of cool tones, and I don't remember. This one shines more warm tone.
You know, it's always kind of interesting, and we talked about how at a lot of previous conventions, and oftentimes they are designed by Jesse. I think he contributes something very specific. There's always like one or two dolls in a collection that have a bold, statement, edgy kind of aesthetic, and this Alejandra definitely feels like that doll in this collection. Of course, with any sort of bold design choices and risk taking, you know, there's inherent risk involved. Sometimes it can be high risk, high reward, but a lot of those dolls with those types of designs sometimes end up being like huge grails. I feel like I don't know what this Alejandra's long-term popularity is going to end up being, but I do think she is really cool. I think this is for sure, this is a really, really unique Alejandra from like all the other Alejandras that have been released thus far.
It's also a new screening. She's facing forward and she has like more narrower eyes.
So she's really cool. I think this is an awesome screening. Jesse's screenings are great.
Yeah, I mean honestly, like I know a lot of people were making comparisons with her with like celebrities and stuff. Like I personally see kind of like almost like Lady Gaga-esque on her face. A
little bit, yeah. She's a lot of black. She's kind of like drowning in black, but it's a really unique aesthetic. It's kind of cool. Yeah, the fur shawl is like a separate piece, you know, that kind of goes over her, and obviously
she's giving very like rodeo, like high-end rodeo, like with like her whip.
Yes, and it's really risque. Yeah, I think she's really, really cool. There's a part of me that ideally would have preferred like a little pop of something that was not black somewhere. But I think overall, I mean, honestly, the hair is such a statement. So yeah, she's really cool. Very unique, Alejandra.
Next up are the two poppies in the convention collection. The first one is Gold Season Poppy Parker, and I believe she is $165. David says she kind of pays homage to the very first black poppy, and that was Midas Touch Poppy, and you can definitely see the reference to it. One thing I noticed this is a perfect example of is her promo images doesn't really make her shine. It kind of is like, oh, it's another poppy, whatever.
The saturation and colors just look kind of flat in the promo pictures, so I have to be honest, I had kind of a whatever knee-jerk reaction to her when I first saw these pictures. She sparkles in person. I would say in particular, the fashion piece that I think may end up specifically a coveted fashion piece is her coat. It's like a tweed, you know, like glittery tinsel, you know, fur-lined coat. It's really gorgeous in person.
Yeah, there's a lot of texture to it, and you don't notice like the sleeve straps on her arm because like it's super overexposed, and also like you can't really tell her screening, and it's a very like rare screening. It's the Lady Luck screening, which we haven't really seen. This is like the third time we've seen it. I think it's originated from Lady Luck, and then it was modified for Spice in the Sugar and Spice gift set, and then this is that screening, but she's looking, I think, the opposite direction, but it's gorgeous.
I was not able to tell right away that it was the Lady Luck screening. There is a part of me that wishes her lips were a different color, because it feels like she's almost wearing kind of like a nude lip, and I feel like she's so like New Year's. I feel like she's totally giving New Year's. So I personally, I would have appreciated kind of like a little pop of color or something in her lipstick, or a little contrast to like all the, you know, all the like gold and white and stuff. But she made so much of a better impression in person. I mean, again, my knee-jerk reaction was like, she sort of calls to mind, you know, some aspects of like Gold Snap Poppy, which granted, Gold Snap is like a huge grail at this point. And with some, the hairstyle looked a little bit similar to Dazzling Debut. I mean, this like wavy bump hairstyle we have seen a few times on Poppy, but in person she's very beautiful, and she has her little disco ball purse, which is cute.
I know, it's like a ball and chain. You can definitely do some serious damage with that. And then next up is our Swedish princess. This is Swiss Misbehave. She is definitely calling, you know, Princess Leia. So yeah, it's kind of like the Swedish like milkmaid hair.
That's what I mean. Swiss Misbehave. It feels like is a play on Swiss Miss, like hot chocolate. So it's based on that. But I mean, her look is very Princess Leia.
Yeah, I mean, to me, she kind of looks like a like high fashion scientist / kind of like nurse. Yeah, very sterile looking look. And she has the Spicy in Spain eyes, which is kind of rare nowadays. It's one of my favorite screenings, so I love her. She's a little bit more simple. But in person, you can definitely notice some of the detail on her, like her coat. Instead of just like a solid fabric, you can definitely see like kind of like the texture and like the line work on it. So it's not just completely white. And then she also sparkles too with all that kind of like tinsel embedded in her fashion.
I think that this Poppy's base is stunning. For me, the rest of her look is giving a little too much lab coat monotone, which isn't my favorite. I mean, so yeah, saying's correct. When you see this, especially like the coat in person, you do see there's some little flourishes with like some nice sparkle and a little like silver contrast to the white. But as a whole, I think she's a little like all white everything, like simple aesthetically for me personally, but stunning face. Next, we have Raven Tate Tanaka. I have to say, out the gate, it was completely unexpected to include Tate in the convention collection. I'm sure that was a polarizing choice for certain IT collectors. I feel like boys, male dolls in general, The IT community is super split on that. I feel like there's a lot of people who are obsessed with the boy dolls, and that's like one of the main things they collect. I kind of fall into that category. I love the boys. There are also a whole bunch of IT collectors who are like, I really don't care about the boys and I never want to see them. So it is kind of interesting that Tate has not had very many releases.
No.
This is only like his fourth-ish time appearing in his entire history
maybe
as
like
an IT
5 or 6
character,
but,
something like that.
It is different for him. His
Yes,
releases
and
too.
generally when he does appear, like a majority of his releases ended up incredibly popular and are like grails at this point. This one is, super different from all the other Tates. He has, kind of like a candy apple red hairdo. It's almost like an Ariel, like Princess Ariel.
Oh, for sure.
Red.
It's very popular in the K-pop community right now. A lot of idols have like this, like really
vividly red hair and a loose like K-pop inspiration. I would say also his suit jacket. This is another scenario of like, this was such a sparkly convention. It was a really sparkly convention, which I would not have expected for this theme. It's so funny. But his suit is a lot prettier in person than just like the promo images. It's very sparkly, very pretty.
It also, if you look at it, like just from the promo images, it reminds me of like a city night sky. Or like the lights in like the towers and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Tate. I like this Tate a lot. There were people saying he has a big ol' forehead.
You know what? That's the thing with redheads. You know, you got a big IMAX screen on their foreheads.
Yes, and I can kind of agree, but I think he's really cool and I really like him. I can totally see why he would not be everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. But as you'll come to see, he was not the only boy at this convention, which was, I mean, there were a good amount of boys at this con.
Yeah, usually you only get one or like...
Or none, yeah. So next up, we have the East 59th inclusion, Agent Sugar North Constance Madsen.
I love East 59th and I love her.
Saying it's like a low-key, like an East 59th completist.
Oh, yeah.
Like low-key, especially with conventions. Yes. You always buy
the one East 59th. And you know, it it's very rare you get more than one. She's very cool. The thing about Chris is his tailoring is superb. Like her dress fits her like a glove. It looks great on her. I love that kind of like off-white fur coat. It's so versatile. I would love to put that on so many dolls. Constance is okay. She won't be my first choice, but she's pretty. And her accessories are so cool. I love that kind of futuristic kind of like ray gun. And then definitely the star of the show is that cigarette ring, which is a brand new
She has a cigarette holder that is an all-new accessory. It is not a reprint. Yeah, so she's cool. I think, as far as the East 59th goes, I don't love Constance as a character, but this screening on her is very pretty, and Saying's right. This dress fits her really well. Like, it's honestly actually kind of rare that you see dresses that are this nicely like form-fitting on a doll's figure. She's East 59th, so of course she has that classic feel. The other East 59th doll we'll get to later was in heavy contrast to that.
Okay, so those were the convention collection dolls, but that isn't all. At these conventions, there are Salesroom exclusives, so these are dolls that are more limited stock or things that they don't announce ahead of time. So these dolls weren't announced. They were the ones that are going to be in the shop. They just show up. So the next one, I don't know how to say her name. You might be.
I'm Italian, but I don't speak Italian, to be clear. Ritorno alla vita Elise Jolie as Elisa Bianchi, or Elisa Bianchi. Carol said it in the blog.
It is Elise, but she is as Elisa Bianchi.
And she is with, she is of course, representing FR. And this was another doll also that was designed by Elaine. Those of you who know me know that I am not an Elise fan overall, but I do have to say this Elise's screening is a pretty nice screening. One of the things that's not totally my favorite about Elise is that she has a very, very gaunt face, which of course, it's very common.
It's gaunt, as well as all her features are very small, like small lips, small eyes.
Yes. But I would say this screening, I think, does a solid job of kind of softening that. And
Yeah,
eyeshadow,
it also enlarges her eyes and gives her more thick eyes.
yes, yeah. So it's a really nice screening. Her hair is lovely. She
And it's like a brand new hairstyle.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't really seen that. She does have really nice hair. The gown she's wearing, it's so funny because if it's like turned a certain way, it looks like a mass of white, especially in certain like pictures and stuff like that. But if you actually take a look, it is, once again, you know, this is just like the Sparkle Fest convention. Yeah, her gown has quite a bit of sparkle, and she's wearing this huge sashy like train, which also has a bow wrap, which I love that part. I think it looks really, really nice. She has like a watercolor painting down her train, which if I recall correctly, Elaine said did he draw that? But he said, I was in the middle of editing the video, he said the painting I created.
And our gown, the painting that I created on our gown, also has to do with this. It's all related.
That I think was his verbiage. I don't know if that means that he like painted this himself or something like that, but she has a big elaborate like watercolor, like a painting essentially on the back of her train. It's very pretty.
And it's removable, so if you don't like that aesthetic, you can remove the huge train.
Yes.
Yeah, but the bow portion is sewn onto the dress.
The dress looks cool, like just with like the bow. Like, it looks cool without the train. It still looks nice. Definitely, of the dolls that Elaine designed at the convention, this was, I think, my favorite one.
So that was it when you could go into purchase the dolls. But there were two secret items that they accidentally leaked. So on the Integrity Toys Instagram, there was kind of like a walkthrough of the sales room before it was open to the public, and they had a doll on display next to Tate, and they didn't announce that at all, and it was a Tulabelle wearing this really cute baby doll dress.
Yeah, we got all excited. We were like, "Ooh, she looks really pretty." Like
and then they completely scrubbed that from both their Instagram and like just people posting it on like W Club, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. So there was a Tulabelle that wasn't available to purchase yet. So what they did was during the Poppy Parker luncheon, they like, okay guys, at the tail end, I want you guys to look into your QR code, and there's an item in there that you need to purchase right away if you want it. It's limited stock. I think she was an edition size of 500.
500, yes.
So that means 50 people miss out on her.
So that means her and Elise were the only two dolls at the convention that not everyone at the convention would be able to purchase if everyone purchased every doll. Yes, so this is Drop Dead Gorgeous Tulabelle True, and I would say she lives up to her name. Tulabelle literally never misses. Like, especially lately, Tulabelle is on a winning streak.
Let me tell you, they told us to leave the dining area and then make her purchase, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna buy her right now. Right. So I don't miss her.
Yes. I feel like she's one of like the cuter dolls of the convention. She has a very kind of like innocent, demure, I think, kind of screening. She has long blonde hair, and I think the fact that she has kind of a baby doll dress that like is puffy and there's a big bow, she feels very like girly, very cute.
Going back to the whole sentiment of like, oh, these all look great in person, like you need to check them out in person. It's like, yeah, the promo images do not just do her justice. Her bow has this beautiful kind of like tiger print on it that you can't really see in the promo images very well. But it's beautiful, the sequins sparkle, and it also connects her to Tate, which, you know, kind of like that kind of warm tone red like sequence harkens to him.
They would pair beautifully together. Yeah, I really appreciate that the sequins on her dress are multicolored. Yeah. All solid color of like this style of sequin tends to not be my favorite, but she I don't know, gives her a little razzle dazzle.
And there's tinsel in her fur coat, and I mean, honestly, looking at the details, her purse is brass knuckles.
So cute.
So she's ready to do some damage too.
So pretty much in the same breath at the Poppy Parker luncheon of being informed about, you know, the limited Tulabelle, we were also informed about a fashion pack that also there were not enough for everyone at the convention. That's actually probably why this one sold out first. It was an even lower edition size. This was only an edition size of 300. So over 200 people at the convention would not be able to get her. This was the Crack the Code convention exclusive spy accessory pack. It's essentially a fashion and accessory pack for Poppy Parker.
Max skipped her, or skipped that fashion pack. I bought it. I mean, I love Poppy. I love more fashion for her. The thing about her is she doesn't come with an actual turtleneck. It's one of those pull away things where like it's like just covers the top portion of her breast. I forgot what they called it, but yeah, it's not a full shirt underneath. Like other things in the convention, that black trench coat has a lot of detail in person. There's also those little stripes on them, so it's not just solid black. It's really nice.
I passed, and I don't regret that. It's fun. It's very simple and solid color. I would say really the most exciting thing that it comes with, in my opinion, is her little camera that has a really adorable little like texture on the camera. It's a really cute camera accessory. That's kind of like the only thing I want from this set.
I mean, probably just buy on Etsy or like it's like a charm. Speaking of the doll that's wearing that outfit, that is a pre-ski Poppy Parker. She was the made-to-order doll for the convention, so anyone, whether you're attending or not, had the opportunity to purchase her.
Which they consider like the convention upgrade doll, basically. Yes.
And they also had her on display, so it was really nice to see her in person. And oh my god, she is so gorgeous in person too. Like, I wasn't really feeling her screening in the promo images, but in person, it looks so like demure and kind of like metallic. Camera died, so we're back. In case I was in the middle of saying something I don't remember.
We don't remember what we were talking about, but anyway, moving on.
So in the sales room, there were blind boxes you could purchase. They were $75, and there are mystery with little goodies inside. So Max and I both bought one.
Everyone bought one.
Oh, yeah, and there were people there, because the dolls weren't there, Saturday morning was usually where people would buy duplicates or extra stuff. So since the dolls weren't there, like, you couldn't do that. So people were lining up for the mystery boxes, and there was some really cool stuff in there.
And I heard that was a bit of like a situation because people lined up really early to get the remainder of the mystery boxes, because initially they only allowed one per person, and then it was like the free-for-all where like, yeah, buy what's left and da-da-da-da. And I heard that a huge line formed, and there were like a lot of people who were not able to buy the mystery boxes. Sang and I completely slept through that. But I wasn't super interested in buying.
You didn't get anything good stuff.
I mean, I got like a color infusion Janae. I mean, at least I got an assembled doll. It was a really interesting mishmash of like, some people were saying like, I got like a female character head and an male like body and stuff like all these weird things. It feels like there was a lot of things that they had a lot of extras of that they were offloading. Like there were a whole bunch of Mothership, Danya like hands and like the My Little Pony collab like skateboard that a lot of people got.
We'll show like footage of what we got. Like, we didn't really get anything too crazy, but there was conversation, and we actually seen some of this where like people got like young romantic Poppy's head in one of them, which is like a Grail doll. A lot of people got the holiday Poppy's head, which was like the 5th year of Poppy, so it's like a really old head. Someone got like a full outfit of Secret Garden Eugenia. She's also a Grail, so there was a lot of cool stuff in there that we personally didn't get, and like, I don't know, realistically, just double dipping. Like, we're definitely huge like blind box fans, but $75 blind box is a little too much for us.
Yes, it tapped into our blind box like urges. but
it was
I was
a
like,
very nice,
I shouldn't.
It was a very nice gesture for IT to do this, because there was no dolls, so this was kind of like a fun alternative to something you can take home. Let's go ahead and talk about the Style Lab. So they announced beforehand that this year's Style Lab would be NU.Face, which is crazy. NU.Face is very popular, so a lot of people were really thrilled and very upset if they couldn't attend.
Yeah, I mean, also NU.Face fans have been wanting more dolls, just like in general for the
NU.Face
past
and
multiple club years,
royalty
kind of.
fans,
Yes, Yeah, so an all NU.Face Style Lab was a really big deal. It was completely designed by Jesse Ayala.
So the theme was the NU.Face characters were doing a heist. Their employer was this mysterious person they have never met, and that plays into Elaine's story about like this entity that was kind of like causing trouble all around the world.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, this one is kind of like a heist, like Ocean's 11. Everyone has like an occupation that works for the heist. So that portion was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was called specifically the NU.Face 7 Style Lab. So yes, a play on like Ocean's 11. So, again, as always, in the way Style Labs work, nude dolls are sold separately from fashion packs, and if you want to, you can mix and match from there, but they do compare with what's like the recommended fashion, basically, and that's how they're displayed. So first, we have number 1, Lucas Maverick, and his recommended fashion is the Gentleman Thief fashion pack. So we talked about him a decent amount like in the vlog, but I think he's really cool. I do have to say, because initially the first thing I saw of this doll was just the nude Lucas, and Lucas always has a very stern kind of like look. His outfit was not the outfit I imagined this doll wearing. So it was a fun kind of unexpected like reveal for when I saw it for the first time. He's wearing a very like flamboyant, risque fashion. It's open back. He has like an open back with like side openings, like a suit.
Yeah, it's based on like a Alexander McQueen outfit, and so it's kind of that cutout look.
Yes, and because this is the Twilight Sparkle convention, is the stripes on his suit do have a slight like twinkle to it. He's giving a little bit of like I get like Gotham kind of vibes from him as well. And
he could be a mob boss or something.
Yes, and he has a really awesome functional umbrella, and in the vlog I was raving about his little Wolverine claws that are like bejeweled, bedazzled. He has a really beautiful sparkly necklace.
He has heels.
He has
extra
heels. Very, very cool to see a male fashion doll in this type of look. I think a lot of designers and in the doll space, and especially in the Playline doll space, I think a lot of folks are like afraid to take chances with like male dolls or male fashion or anything like this. This was very fun to see. I don't think he will be everyone's cup of tea, but I was a fan. I really liked him.
I was gonna mention this at the end, but since Max brought it up, I think everyone's personal taste in the Style Lab, like their tier list of who they like and who they don't like, has been so all over the place. I think to me that kind of shows that this Style Lab was a success. There's a little bit for everyone. So it's not like there's one coveted doll and everyone else is kind of like, eh.
I would almost say that is something that sets this convention as a whole kind of apart, is like in a lot of previous conventions, it's like, oh yeah, the very popular like 1 or 2 or 3 like huge grail dolls. Like, well, there is one doll I think that falls into that category in this convention, but for the most part, I think honestly when we were asking people like their favorite doll, everyone said someone different. So many people said different things, and I think in the Style Lab too, like there was, I think, a little something for everyone. And so moving straight on to number 2, Erin Salston, wearing the Precious Gems fashion pack.
Yes. Right off the bat, I think she really catches our eye. It's just, she's very pretty, she's very like girly. Yeah.
I love her so much. Yes. She was one of my favorite dolls of the entire convention, low-key.
I think Erin's has been kind of like a redhead a lot lately. That's kind of like her signature hair color lately.
That's true. I'm obsessed with her hairstyle. I think, honestly, this convention, there were a few like really nice and new like hairstyles. I would invite them to do that more often. Because sometimes you see the same hairstyles like over and over and over again. Her hair is so cute. She has these cute little like tendrils, and she has like a high wavy like curly ponytail. Her jewelry is gorgeous. I think the pattern on her dress is kind of like whimsical and fun.
It's very subtle in a sense where like unless you look up close, you don't see like the little gems and stuff. It's like a polka dot from a distance.
Yes, and we also talked about this in the vlog, but her heels are a slay. Her heels they look like these little, almost like gem vials. You know, no, I guess it's not the right shade of green to be the substance, but but they're really cool. She's fab. Love her. So next up, we have number 3, Nadja Rhymes, wearing the Diamond Deception fashion pack.
She is definitely a very stunning doll. I think Jessie loves Nadja, and I think a lot of collectors love her too. And her makeup is very different from other Nadjas we have seen in the past. We have seen flocked Nadja before, but most of the time she has like a warm tone, and this one has a more cool tone makeup palette. So she has kind of like purplish, kind of blue eyeshadow, and her lips are, she has like a lip liner on there. And then her fashion pack is very, also like kind of mob boss as well. It's definitely giving, I mean, Jessie has mentioned it in his interview, it's giving Elektra from Pose.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah, this was kind of like an iconic look for her from the show.
I can totally see that. Yeah, I think this Nadja is really pretty. She calls to mind for me a little bit like no other Nadja in terms of sort of the face and the screening a little bit, which is one of my favorite Nadjas.
That fur coat. You can already tell how fluffy and...
The fur coat is really nice. I'm not a gigantic bodysuit person. The bodysuit on its own, I don't totally love. I think the fur and the hat and everything are kind of what make it. There is a part of me, again, from my personal taste, personally, like all one color, like everything doesn't tend to super align with my personal taste. There is a part of me that wishes there was some other color to like add some contrast or to break up like all the lavender, but it is a really gorgeous lavender, and it's like, you know, once again, she's twinkly and sparkly.
I actually like the bodysuit. I think the cutout in the center is very sexy.
Yes.
And the way that is styled with the necklace that's, you know, in between the cutout, that really draws attention to the cutout.
Yes.
And the folds at the top too. It's a jumpsuit, but it's a very nicely crafted jumpsuit. Or bodysuit, I guess bodysuit, yeah.
So next we have number 4, Colette Duringer in the Wild Rush fashion pack.
Honestly, they should just call it Wild Card, because no one was expecting this Colette.
Colette 1.0,
yes,
to be specific.
Yes. She was probably the most polarizing doll of the Style Lab. I think a lot of people really like Colette 1.0 and was very happy to see her make an appearance. And then there were other collectors we talked to who felt that her sculpt was too cartoony compared to the other characters in this collection.
Yeah, I mean, we're not enormous Colette 1.0 fans. The impression I have is that Colette 1.0 in comparison to like her later updates is not popular with like a huge majority of the IT base. However, clearly she has, you know, there are a lot of like really big Colette 1.0 fans. We spoke with multiple people who like loved this Colette and Colette 1.0 in general. We heard multiple people say it was like their favorite doll of the convention. I personally am among the people who do think that the later iterations and that, you know, the 2.5 tweak and all that were improvements, I think, to kind of tone down the cartooniness of her and to, you know, improve like some of her proportions and things like that. However, I do think that this Colette specifically, I mean, she is still pretty, and again, Jessie is masterful at making like striking, symmetrical, like beautifully colored screenings, even if he's working with like a less common or less popular sculpt.
I think he brought new life to a lot of like sculpts or characters that have been unpopular in the past. I know like Violin in particular, she was hated as Vanessa 2.0, but then he brought her back as, you know, their little sister, Violin, and yeah, people ate her up.
But yeah, this Colette calls to mind for me personally. I think overall, like I think this fashion pack, it's one of the slightly simpler looks in the Style Lab overall, but it is very, like, to me it was really bringing to mind like Beyonce. Like I feel like especially, of course, Beyonce recently had her Cowboy Carter album. I mentioned in the vlog that also Beyonce had some looks that were similar to this, even like in her Destiny's Child days.
I honestly just thought of this, but the fabric they used for her outfits it's also the kind of fabric is used for Giselle, where it's this fabric that kind of shifts colors at certain lightings. Because it shifts kind of like brown, but also like this metallic gold when you look at it.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, so when you see it in person, the fabric is really the selling point for this outfit.
Then we had number 5 Ayumi Nakamura in the Inside Info fashion pack.
I love Ayumi, and I'm glad she made an appearance. I think she's so precious. I love the fashion pack. I love everything about this doll. She's so good. She's probably my favorite Style Lab doll. She has purple eyeshadow, and a lot of people were making a comparison that she looks a lot like a brunette version of Hauntingly Lovely Ayumi from, I think, the Heirloom collection, where she was like a lingerie doll. I love that she's Asian with brown hair and brown eyes, very neutral, and she looks so cute in a little fashion pack. That fashion pack really brings to mind like a lot of things in the Style Lab. It kind of harkens back to different collections Jessie had done in the past. This one is very, it could just fall into like the Reckless collection. Like that, you know, that like clueless aesthetic. If only it had pleather. I'm glad there's no pleather, but yeah, it gets very like nerdy girl.
Yes, I definitely do think that this is a really unique Ayumi, both in her hair and screening, in addition to like the fashion she's wearing. She's giving kind of like cozy, nerdy, you know, Ayumi, which that's very unique, I think, for this character. It is always a treat to see Ayumi, you know, it would be nice to see her more often. This doll did not initially resonate with me a ton, I think, because there's some aspects of like the coat and the aesthetic that kind of struck me as like a lot of colors all at once, and almost kind of a very like vintage looking kind of color story and coat and stuff like that, which doesn't totally align with my personal taste. But this was another scenario where in person she did look really detailed and really cute, and I definitely think wearing just the dress gives her a really different look. So it's like, if you take off her little headband and the glasses and the oversized coat, she has on this kind of like short, almost like a corset dress, and I think it changes up her look quite a bit, and she does look very pretty.
Yeah, she gives nerdy chic.
So then again, there was unexpectedly a whole bunch of boys at this convention. We have number 6, Thiago Valente, wearing the Tech Skills fashion pack. This was another scenario where like just seeing the promo images before we went into the sales room, I was kind of like, yeah, you know, like I mean, it was great. It was great seeing Thiago in a new skin tone and with very different hair, because I know we had talked about that like his first 2 releases had similar skin tones and similar screenings and stuff like that. So it is cool seeing an 8-tone Thiago with like some facial hair. Honestly, Thiago has such a pretty face. Like, Thiago has such a pretty face. I think I've said previously, like his lips are a work of art. Like I think he has very nice, like realistic, aesthetically pleasing lips, and I think this doll is beautiful. His fashion, when I first saw like pictures and stuff of it, I'm like, yeah, I was like, you know, it looks like a little, at first glance it looks a little like simple, casual, like in comparison to some of the other stuff here. I do still kind of think for this look to be really like va-va-voomed, it would have been really nice for him to have some kind of like jacket or coat or vest or something. I feel like that would have been a phenomenal, you know, final touch. But in person, again, he has a lot of really cool details. Like his little, like his gloves have, you know, they're like a latexy almost look. And his pants are so cool because they unzip into shorts.
Yeah, the convertible pants are definitely like a Y2K aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it kind of fits in with him being the tech guy. And then his shirt has kind of like that sheen, kind of like shiny look to it as well. Yeah, he's really cool. Like there's a lot of things that you can play around with on him, with those little like pockets that are attached to the belt. And then the bag itself is like, his handbag is so detailed. Like, look at all those little pockets and stuff. Do I want to talk about number 7, Raina Amati? I will talk about Raina. I think in our vlog, I think we already made the comparison. She looks very poppy-esque. And her fashion pack definitely continues that trend. It's called Scoped Out Fashion Pack. And it's very mod. It has that kind of like floral print that you can see on like rent vintage 70s couches.
Again, when I saw the promo pictures of this, I was like, not for me. But again, seeing it in person, I'm like, oh no, do I like her? Like, I mean, the doll, love the doll.
Yes.
I mean, living for Raina disguised as Poppy. Like, it is literally, she looks so much like Poppy. I almost feel like this was a cleverly designed screening, like and just combined with that hairdo to make her like kind of calling to mind Kiki Poppy, who herself was similar to Big Eyes Poppy. So I think that was clever to have another character almost kind of look, you know, very similar. You know, I love Raina. I often think Raina is lovely. Yeah, like I said, initially this fashion was not really speaking to me, but I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, and I know this will shock you all. This was once again really sparkly. Yes. In person, I swear there was rainbow fairy dust just like sprinkled on everything in the convention. So it was a lot more eye-catching in person. She looks so much like Poppy. Yeah. So I think Poppy fans would enjoy this Raina. But like some previous style labs, there was a build-a-doll, which essentially meant that you had to purchase the entire collection in order to assemble both the entirety of the doll herself and her completed fashion pack.
Unique this year is the build and accessory component to it. So in addition to the build a doll, build a fashion, there's a build accessory as well. And the build accessory links into the overarching mystery of the convention. Alen explained it to us.
This is another one that I was initially really hoping to skip, and then I kind of wanted her because seeing her in person, she's just really cool. So technically, again, because this is a scenario of they're not sold separately, you have to assemble them. Just the entirety of this doll is referred to as Criminal Kitty Violaine Perrin Build-A-Doll. You can definitely tell she's giving sexy cat burglar. There's a very loose like Catwoman influence because she has, you know, like claws. And again, Jessie came through with like really cool fashion choices. Her little sleeve that's also a bag.
I know,
Crazy,
so cool. It's
so high fashion.
both high fashion and practical. And you know, coming back to the idea that no pleather has been used as like fashion pieces, clothing, there's this really nice kind of like lace / mesh kind of like sequence outfit on her.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
so
very
pretty
sheer
Yeah.
and it's, you know, sparkles. I'm not sure how a cat burglar wears something that sparkles in the middle of the night.
And that mesh is gonna snag on so many things.
Yes.
Yeah. But of course she's bejeweled in the things she stole, you know, but she's wearing a lot of jewelry. She comes with a lot of pretty jewelry, and it's cute. The promo images show her like, you know, holding like a little necklace, like something she stole, and that was how she was displayed as well.
Oh, and that hair color is really
Oh
pretty.
my god, I love her hair so much. It's like a candied burgundy.
Yeah, it's like a red, but it shifts towards purple.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's called Garnet Red is the official title of the color used. And it was styled flawlessly at the convention, the sample doll at the convention. It was just, her hair looked so perfect. Violaine historically is not my top favorite character. Her face is sometimes doing things that I don't love, but this one I think has a nice screening, and yeah, I love her hair.
It really makes sense. Like initially I was like, really? Violaine as the Build-A-Doll? Because usually Build-A-Dolls are like the most popular character or something like, really? Her? I'm like, oh, okay, it kind of makes sense now. Like she's really pretty, yeah.
You know, leave it to Jessie to make out of left field choices, but she's very cool.
The nude dolls were $65 and the fashion packs are $85. Again, in person you would have to purchase both the fashion pack and a doll together. So you can just buy all the new dolls and just leave fashions or whatever.
Yes.
So you have to buy both together. I think it's a very successful style lab. I think a lot of people saying it's one of the best ones they have done. I definitely can agree with that. You know, I'm still a Poppy fan, so I really like the first Poppy Style Lab.
That one was clearly very popular.
Yes, but I can definitely see this Style Lab doing serious numbers.
Yeah, I mean, this was also the way I kind of want to file it is like, this was like a grower style lab.
Yeah.
I would say especially, like I said, maybe it's just some of the promo images for this convention, just in general. A lot of the colors looked flatter. Like they just didn't.
Things are washed out.
Yeah,
There's things that don't pop.
Yes.
They don't do a really good job with like showcasing like every aspect of a doll. Yeah, like there's some promo images like we'll see from a Poppy later on. They don't show any pictures of the back of the hair. I think that was kind of like a selling point because that's the very unique hairstyle.
I think the thing too is, again, because were all these different like variations of sparkle and twinkle and textures on some of them, it's really hard to in their defense, it's really hard to capture that in like static photos.
And one thing I noticed that they don't include in the emails for like everyone is like the rotating footage. I think that would have been a lot better to include. Also, they were missing some of the close-up images of the dolls' faces as well, and I had to manually go in to the purchase website to like steal those images. But I think that's a great argument against people who said, why shouldn't they just cancel this convention and just make it a virtual one? True, save some money on hotel and you can buy more, but I think seeing these dolls in person, it definitely changes your opinion on them.
Yeah, and also for me personally, probably my top favorite thing about the convention is the experience itself. We'll get more into that later. But yeah, the Style Lab was great. It definitely makes a better impression in person. So if you have not had an opportunity to see those dolls in person or watch a video of them, you know, maybe we'll, you know, when we have ours, we'll try to show some stuff more up close as well. Hey everyone, so this discussion ended up being extremely long. So following the results of a poll I shared on Instagram, we decided to split this discussion into 2 videos. So this concludes part 1. Stay tuned to our channel for part 2, which will be posted soon and includes our thoughts on the centerpiece and giveaway dolls, the food, and closing thoughts on this con in general. Definitely let us know your thoughts on the things we discussed, including the convention collection and Style Lab. Our full Integrity Toys playlist will be linked on screen here. Thank you so much for watching part 1 of this discussion, and we'll see you next time. Bye.